everyone. I'm Diedra Perry, and I'm thrilled to be here with Dr. Jerry Wagner, a distinguished professor, author, and Enneagram historian with decades of experience helping individuals and organizations understand themselves and others more deeply. His work has shaped leadership development, personal growth, and the study of the Enneagram around the world. I'm here with my co-host, Sara Mireles, executive board member of the Enneagram Las Vegas, who will help guide today's discussion. Jerry will be leading 2 standout sessions at the Enneagram Las Vegas community gathering happening October 3rd and 4th at the South Point Hotel and Casino, Owning Your Own Authority and The Evolution of the Enneagram with Patrick O'Leary. These sessions offer a rare opportunity to explore leadership, personal growth, and the deeper history of the Enneagram directly from the experts. Jerry, it is such a pleasure to have you here today. I want to ask you, with all of your experiences as a professor, an author, and an Enneagram historian, I'd love to hear, how does the Enneagram influence all of your personal ventures?
I never use it, Diedra. I'm just sick of it by now. I'm just kidding. Dad and I have been around forever. I mean, since they discovered dirt. I still find the Enneagram fascinating. And you'll have to come to hear what I mean by fascinating. Anyway, I use the Enneagram. I'm a therapist, so I use it in therapy. And sometimes people come to talk to me because they know the Enneagram and they want to work on their type. Sometimes, they don't know it, and I think it might be helpful, so I introduce it. Sometimes I don't use it. So, but when I have introduced it, people really find it helpful. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. I also do a training program on the Enneagram, and it's for coaches and spiritual directors and therapists and counselors and pastors. Just people want to know themselves better. So I get a nice variety of people. This last training I'm doing right now, we have every type represented.
Oh,
so that's great. Nice to be able to hear from everybody. So that's it. I like to do a little bit of writing about the Enneagram. I do use the Enneagram quite a bit these days.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thanks, Jerry. Your topic that you're going to present at the gathering next week is owning your own authority. So how'd you kind of come to that topic?
A good question. Actually, a while ago, I was talking with someone who was kind of saying, "Oh, I can't get my husband to listen to me or do anything that I asked him to do, or I'm trying to set some limits and boundaries, and it's not working." Mm-hmm. And so I asked him, "Well, where does your authority come from to do this?" And it was kind of a trick question because the person knew that she was a 6 on the Enneagram, and so I'm thinking, well, that's a tough question for a 6. Where does your authority come from? And not surprisingly, she said, well, I don't know. So then I thought, well, where does my authority come from as a 5? And it comes from all those books, from what I know. And then I thought, well, where does the authority from all the styles? So I thought about it a little bit, made up some stuff, and then I asked people who are different types, well, where would you say your authority comes from? At the last Enneagram Global Conference in Minneapolis, I did a workshop on the authority. That's, really some interesting insight. On my website, although you want people to come to the conference, but I've got some ideas there, the Enneagram Spectrum, a couple of articles on where does your authority come from. But I think it's really helpful to hear from your own style. So we'll break up into groups and talk about it, and then hear from other types. Just like these are all sources of authority that every type can draw from, but we tend to prefer our own more than others. But it's nice to hear, oh, I never thought about that. I have that too. So I think, I think people will find it interesting and useful to hear from other people. Oh, and from other people to hear from you might give them some insight. I never thought about that. Yes, I have that authority too. So they're basically human characteristics. So we all share, but we tend to maybe lean towards a few over others. So it's good to remind us, well, what? The 9 sources in you.
Yeah, that's great. I think hearing from others is so helpful, but also being able to articulate where your own authority comes from so you can be more deliberate about when and how you use it is so practical. And Jerry, we really enjoyed your sessions last year. We had a gathering, and you were definitely on our list of someone we love to bring back and hear from again. So if you went last year, he's a returning star from the conference last year, and so excited to see you again. You're always fun, entertaining in a room, so kind of keeps everybody engaged. So I don't know if that doesn't hook you in. You can help me here, Jerry. If someone's on the fence about registering, why do you think this session could be a game changer?
But what I'm doing with Pat O'Leary,
Yeah.
as the two of us have been around forever, and so just getting some insight into the history of the Enneagram. Where did all this stuff come from, and how has it evolved over the years? We've been at it for 50 years. God help us all. So it's useful to hear, so here's how where some of this stuff came from. And with the authority, again, I think it will help you trust your own authority. Oh, yeah, that is where it comes from. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I don't know how much time we got here, but for the ones, it comes from their, I have a moral rightness. You trust me too. Say, I love you. And so I know what's good for you. Threes, I can get things done. Fours, I have really deep, authentic feelings. Fives, we know. Sixes, they trust a kind of an inner guidance, wherever that might be coming from. Some say it's from Europe. Sevens are out ahead of us. They see what's coming down the road before we do, and that their authority comes from that. Eight, they haven't even said where their authority comes from. It's like, if you don't know, why should we bother trying to tell you? So they just take it. We got it. And nines, I think their authority comes largely from a sense of harmony and peace and unity. They kind of see how things fit together intuitively. So I think it's good to learn all of that. So and the price is right, very reasonable price.
Yeah,
wonderful group of people. I really enjoyed myself last year. So thanks for inviting me back.
I'm glad you. I was at that conference with you, and I went to the session with you and Patrick, which is one of the reasons we got the idea that maybe Jerry and Patrick come together, because it's so entertaining, the 3 and the 5, and you guys have such different styles, but live through this together. This history of the last couple of decades, you can kind of poke at each other a little bit, remind each other of where you're at and what you're talking about. What I found so fast, and that session was long. This is actually going to be a condensed version. So that session, non-condensed, seems so quick to me. So I know that you're really packing a lot in this session, but how much of the history is relatively current is always so interesting to me. How much has happened in the last 20 or 30 years and how impactful it's been. So I'm glad you brought up that session, because I think that for our community is going to be so interesting and enlightening, and really shares a lot of how impactful and important this tool is and can be if you use it. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry and Sara, for sharing your insights. If this conversation resonated with you and you're ready to deepen your understanding of the Enneagram, learn about the history and owning your own authority and more, register for the Enneagram Las Vegas community gathering at www.enneagramlasvegas.com. Can't wait to see you there.